What a start to the series for the Indiana Pacers. They roll past the Milwaukee Bucks. They're up 1-0 in the series. Their offense looked great. Their defense was good enough, and they got off on the right foot. And we'll break it all down today on the Locked On Pacers podcast.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, y'all? Happy weekend, Saturday, Sunday, whenever you're listening, and welcome into another edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the Indiana Pacers. As always, my name's Tony East, and I cover the team for Forbes, and today, still in Gainbridge Fieldhouse, sitting just off the floor where the Pacers just rolled in Game 1 to start the playoffs. Something they did not do last year, start a series on the right foot. Boy, did they look good today, dispatching the Milwaukee Bucks, a 19-point win for the Pacers, an excellent first half, a good enough fourth quarter after a not so great third quarter, and they get it done. A lot of questions about this series were answered early, and a lot of adjustments will certainly be coming. The Bucks can be proactive. The Pacers need to be ready for what's coming next from Milwaukee, because they started off this series as good as they could have imagined. If you told me entering today that Tyrese Haliburton, who started some series off poor last year from a scoring perspective, would do so again, he would have 10 points on 13 shots in this game. Granted, that does not sell his game short. Just bear with me. If Tyrese Haliburton had 10 points on 13 shots today, Pacers would shoot 13 for 34 from deep. That's fine. 38% is good, but not exceptional. I would have had a hard time believing not only that they almost reached 120, 117 for the Pacers, but that they also comfortably won the game, right? Usually in their dominant wins where their offense looks exceptional, Haliburton is rolling from a scoring perspective, or the whole team has something else clicking for them, whether it's outlier shooting or something else. They just got whatever shot they wanted for most of this game. Not all the game. They had a few moments, and I thought, especially in the second half, where even they admitted they've settled a little bit. But for most of the game, I felt like the Pacers had no problem getting exactly what shot they wanted. In fact, it's one of my first notes of the entire game. First two trips, two wide open threes, one for Myles Turner, and I believe the second one was for Aaron Nesmith, right? Even with Ryan Rollins pressuring full court early, Nembhard can get right to the cup. Deceleration, scoring on Brook Lopez. The first 3 minutes of the game, Andrew Nembhard got right to the basket 3 times for points, and the Pacers generated 4 wide open threes. They didn't make all of them, but they did it, right? And if that's how they're starting the game, yes, the Bucks can and did adjust on defense, but it felt like to me that they were going to be able to get good shots basically all night, and they absolutely did. And it wasn't from deep all night. The Pacers did a great job in this game, I thought, of getting good shots from all over the floor. Right at the basket was routinely working for them, not because of outstanding drives or anything. The game only logged this as 32 points in the paint for the Pacers. I believe that is a little off, but also they had a bunch of free throws, 20 in total, so they got fouled the basket. But whether it was mid-range shots that they like, a lot of those from Pascal Siakam. We'll talk more about him. He hit 7 twos in this game. Whether that was Andrew Nembhard getting to spots that he likes in the paint, he made 7 2-pointers in this game. Whether that was TJ McConnell getting to those shots that he likes, he made 5 2-pointers in this game. They got those shots what they wanted them. They got shots at the rim when they wanted them. Bennedict Mathurin finished at the rim on some nice cuts. Aaron Nesmith had some nice rim finishes. Myles Turner had some nice plays around the basket, although he also hit some mid-range shots. I think all of Haliburton's makes were relatively in close, all 3 of his makes, right? And then also, Haliburton goes 0 for 7 from deep. The rest of the team goes 13 for 27. Almost half their threes as a unit drop. Bennedict Mathurin was 1 for 6. Everybody else had a good or acceptable shooting night from deep, and the quality of those looks was good, right? Siakam and Turner combined to make 7 threes in this game. The Bucks made 9, right? Awesome game from the Pacers in terms of generating the shots that they want to generate. And that's why I think they should have felt very comfortable with how this game went for them, because everything that you would want if you're the Pacers out of game 1 of a series, besides obviously the result finishing with you having more points than their team, would be that you played a style that worked and got you the shots you wanted. And I picked the Pacers to win the series. I don't have to explain myself for doing that or explain why I think the Pacers are good, but something I think was under-discussed even by me going into the series is, the Pacers were 7th in offense this year, and not in terms of offensive rating and some of the stuff that they're good at, but like they generate good shots all the time. They finished the season 4th in effective field goal percentage. They're very good at, despite having, obviously 2 all-stars, no like Tyrese Haliburton's a mega creator, but no like ball and isolation scores to get you good shots all the time. They're very, very good at generating the shots that they want basically every trip, which is why they have the fourth best effective field goal percentage, meaning their field goal percentage adjusted for the quality of or the value of threes on shot attempts. Ignore free throws. They're very good at that, right? And this game showed why they ranked so high in that area. Every trip, they knew, here come the Bucks. Giannis is not going to switch. He's going to drop against Haliburton. Other guys are going to switch. If they're not going to switch, we're going to take that space and get into that mid-range shot that they hit all night. If they are going to switch, great. We'll go to Siakam in the post. He's going to get out of it and throw it to someone else who's going to hit an open shooter in the corner. If they aren't going to switch and they're not going to be the drop, great. We're going to turn the corner and get to the rim, and then the corner shooter might be open. The rim might be open, right? The Bucks did mix up coverages. That's what you should do. That's what I said the Pacers should do to defend Giannis. And I thought the Bucks did that a lot in this game, depending on who the screener was, who the defenders were, right? All that is natural. That's how the playoffs work. You got to be locked into those kind of game plan things. But I thought the Pacers were very good at basically every possession, whatever the coverage was, whatever the defenders were, whoever was on the floor. The Pacers bench wasn't awesome on offense, but it was good enough. They were able to generate shots that they want or are happy with basically all night. I don't think the Bucks were like mad about the shots they got, but the Pacers contested threes very well in this game. They had a nice game plan against Giannis, not perfect, but nice enough. They want to be better at that in game two. They were great against the non-Giannis starters in this game. Just a really, really, really well executed game for the Pacers, all starting with their first half of just generating good shot after their fifth wide open three. In the first couple minutes, Doc Rivers takes a timeout. One of the Pacers' first possessions after that was something I just described. Pacers are in semi-transition, and it ends up that there's a small on Pascal Siakam. They don't even wait. They identify it right away. Myles Turner, of all people, is telling guys to clear out. They get the ball to Siakam in the post. The Bucks realize there's an issue. They send two to Siakam. 2 passes later, wide open corner three. I mean, the first 6 makes, Tyrese Haliburton had 4 assists. Aaron Nesmith hitting floaters. Like, these are shots that they got better at throughout the regular season and generated all the time. And they did just a wonderful, wonderful job of getting them. The bench, I want to talk a lot of credit for, too. TJ McConnell was, of course, hitting the shots that he became so known for last year. I wonder, we will see, it's one game of a series, how much a week off did for him and the ankle, especially at his age. Going 5 for 7 for him was huge. Did not think he played a perfect game. We'll talk about some stuff that needed to go better, but played very much better than I thought he might in this series, right? Ben Mathurin's cutting was sublime. He did not make jumpers in this game. He finished 2 for 7 and missed 5 threes. I think he made both of his twos, but he got to the basket, 8 free throw attempts, 13 points on 7 shots. When you go 2 for 7 is exceptional, right? Obi Toppin made 2 of his 3 shots, so his defense wasn't good in this game. Jarris Walker and Thomas Bryant both made threes. Like, they got good looks even with their bench. The way the Pacers executed the game plan they wanted, whoever was on the floor, was so impressive. Now, this is something that they're going to have to focus on in the series. This is the Pacers' issue for much of time. They are very good at getting leads. They're not so good at holding them. And I think everybody kind of had that feeling, even when the Pacers are up 27, 28, whatever their biggest lead was, of like, okay, this is not over. They blew a 19-point lead on this court against the Bucks December 31st. And the game got to 12, and it was 12 for a long time. We'll talk more about the fourth quarter later. But they still had to feel, that was the only quarter they couldn't feel good about their shot attempts. They admitted it. I think everybody saw it, realized they were settling a little too much for jumpers, right? Taking the air out of the ball made some sense given the time and score, but they weren't driving enough. They weren't generating the shots that got them to that point in the game. And instead we're taking some threes that were not perfect shots or were not generated because of the way they were attacking the Bucks defense. And the Bucks went more zone in the second half, and Portis was like up high against it. So it was hard to just throw it into the middle. And that Bucks group that was on the floor was the exact one I talked about leading up to the series, the Giannis plus the bench group that was scoring enough to set up said zone, right? For a minute there, it looked like, oh man, like they're going to have to find a way. But they did. They locked back in for the final 3-4 minutes. Once Siakam got back on the floor, their 12-point lead expands almost up to 20. Siakam was just awesome in this game, played a big part of that. But they kind of just remembered what they needed to be doing, right? At 107-95, the Pacers finally got out of it with a big 3 from Myles Turner, then some free throws from Haliburton, Siakam getting a shot that he likes on a floater, and then some flagrants, and the game was over, and the Pacers got some easy points after that. But they got back to their bread and butter after being stuck in the mud for a while, and that's why I think they have to feel good about this game. A lot of stuff did not grow great, and we will talk about that stuff. But the early cutting from Mathurin and the early perfect ball movement that they got, the way that they were reacting to exactly what was going on from the Bucks, and the way that they were making said shots, and the way that they realized mismatches right away. To me, that signaled a team that was dialed into their early game plan in the series. Very impressive stuff from the Pacers. They shot it exceptionally well. to start the game. That's not going to happen forever, but they made nice in-game adjustments, and their offense was great. A couple other things that I thought were noteworthily good for the Pacers in this game. One of them was something Tyler Smith rightly called out, I thought, when we did our advantages the Pacers could have podcast this week. Pacers did very well on the defensive glass. Only 8 offensive rebounds for the Bucks in this game. Pacers only 5 turnovers. So winning that rebounding battle for the Pacers by 2 in this game was exceptional. That means despite taking fewer shots, they kept up in the possession battle because of free throws, because of game flow. And I know it sounds crazy to say because of free throws because Giannis took so many, but in general, the Pacers kept up in the possession battle thanks to their rebounding that got them into transition, that let them dictate the pace of the game. And lo and behold, 22 fast break points for the Pacers, 5 for the Bucks in this game, 13 points off turnovers for the Pacers, 3 for the Bucks in this game. That's how the Pacers want to play, right? The Bucks don't want to play slow, but Tyler and I talked about that as well. If the Pacers can get the game to be on their terms and at their speed, they're going to feel great. And so the Bucks definitely destroyed them in the second chance points department. They were ahead in points in the paint. Those are things that I think the Pacers would like to be better at in the next game, but I thought they rebounded pretty well. I thought they took care of the ball very well with only 5 turnovers. Nobody had more than 1, right? That speaks more to the Pacers' offensive style and their ability to kind of get whatever they wanted in this game. And the other thing that happened that I was surprised by, but actually went pretty well for the Pacers, was their bench was solid, and it wasn't 8 guys. I was very wrong about this. I thought it would be McConnell for sure. Well, I wasn't certain about McConnell playing like the whole playoffs, but today I thought it'd be McConnell for sure, Mathurin for sure, and Toppin for sure. Wasn't sure of anything beyond that. Jarris Walker played, and I thought played quite well. And Thomas Bryant played. A lot of his minutes were against non-Giannis alignments, but Thomas Bryant played, right? The Pacers really went deep into things, and nobody killed them. They did have some moments where Thomas Bryant's defense was, hey, he probably needs to get off the floor right now. And TJ McConnell on Kevin Porter Jr. was not working in the first quarter, but the bench being that good was also important. Even though they didn't do that well in the non-Giannis minutes in this game, Giannis a minus 18, and the Pacers won by 19. They only won the 10 minutes he's off the floor by 1. They need to do better, I think, in those minutes next time. Obviously, it's great that they cruised in those particular minutes, but I thought that was extremely noteworthy on top of their offensive process as well, is that they didn't seem to miss as much of a beat as I expected with their bench groups, especially going 10 deep in this game. And Johnny Furphy gets 39 seconds of play at the end, so you could say 11 deep. Congrats to Furphy on the playoff debut. So that, to me, is the story of game 1. The Pacers won, and that is the most important thing. And I guess if you want to say the story is just the result, that's very true in the playoffs. But the other part of this being a story and something the Pacers are happy about in the postseason is the way they were able to do it, generating shots that they love for almost 48 minutes of basketball, not all of the fourth quarter. And they're up 1-0. So many more things I want to get to. I'm going to run through my notes. I'm going to talk about some stuff to watch out for adjustment-wise. Be very wary of a Bucks lineup change in game 2. And maybe Dame comes back. It's all coming up here on Locked On Pacers. Before we get to any of that, we got to talk about Upwork. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives family businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. You can find the right talent. If you need help with a marketing campaign, Upwork can connect you with a freelance expert who delivers incredible results. Posting a job is free and simple. And within days, qualified candidates to choose from are right there for you. Instead of hiring full-time, Upwork helps find affordable, top-tier freelancers to scale businesses efficiently. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's UPWORK.com. Upwork.com to connect with top talent and grow your business today. Back here on Locked On Pacers, thanks for making us your first listen today and every day on this weekend. Pacers ahead in a playoff series after one game for the first time in this era. They were not ahead till game 3 against the Bucks last year. They were not ahead till game 7 against the Knicks last year. They were never ahead against Boston. Early lead is huge for them. Make Locked On Bucks your second listen. Hear what they think about what the Bucks did poorly in this game and where they need to adjust. I would think that is where I would start in this game. The exact lineup that I told you to ask questions about in this series that will present challenges for the Pacers did exactly that. I don't have the exact lineup stats in front of me. I'll probably pull them up while I'm talking, but the fourth quarter run from the Bucks came against the exact group that they've closed games with so effectively of late, which is Giannis. He's awesome. Kevin Porter Jr., their best ball handler, and then shooters everywhere else. Bobby Portis, Gary Trent, AJ Green. AJ Green was hooping. He was the reason this game nearly got close. He made 5 of 11 threes. The Bucks went 9 for 37, meaning non-Gary Trent shooters went 4 for 26. First of all, I'll say this now. That is something the Pacers should be kind of afraid of, right? They will not shoot. That is probably the worst shooting game the Bucks will have this whole series. And I will give the Pacers credit. Their closeouts, Siakam was awesome at this. We're very good in this game, right? They forced Bucks guys to shot fake and move, or just make it more challenging. But they're not going to shoot that bad, like at all. And outside of AJ Green, nobody shot it well of that group late. But once AJ Green got rolling on those threes, he had 15 points. He was the He was the Bucks' second leading scorer in this game. That group started to cook, and they turned to it for good minutes. My gosh, I've done it twice now. The Bucks starters played 17 and a half minutes in this game. They were minus 15. The Porter, Giannis, Green group played 15 minutes and 40 seconds. They were plus 4, right? I would not be surprised if some or all of those players, not all, that would be a crazy change, but some of those players are starters in the next game. People are dunking on Kyle Kuzma for his all zeros at stat line. It wouldn't shock me if he moved to the bench. They still need kind of his athleticism and verve, for lack of a better term. Like, I don't think he should be totally exiled from the Bucks rotation, but I do expect them to make some changes, and it could just be as easy as, hey, Damian Lillard's back, right? We saw him on the bench. He got a tech in this game, right? He wasn't totally uninvolved in the action. Shams Charania reported on ESPN that Dame could return game 2 or 3 for Milwaukee. He seemed to, I saw quote tweets about this. I'm not going to guess what his lip reading said. Some people saw lip readings of him during his exchange with Siakam and Haliburton saying that he'll see the Pacers on Tuesday or something to that effect. That is when game 2 is. I, again, will not be guessing about Dame's status until he plays or does not play. But that is also a change to expect with the Bucks rotation. So the group that was good for the Bucks spreads the Pacers out, makes it harder to defend Giannis with multiple guys. You can still send 2 to him. You have to almost all the time. But that third guy is when it's like the Bucks are just 2 passes away from a good-looking 3 at any time. AJ Green got a bunch of them. I thought the Pacers were a little undisciplined with him in the fourth quarter. You got to be on everybody in that group. And they did very well, to the Bucks' credit. And I think that is an adjustment to keep an eye on, just straight up lineup-wise. Pacers, I'll get to some of those in a second. Running through the notebook really quick, I took way too many notes in this game. Bucks did it again, as expected. They went zone in the small versus small minutes with Portis at center and Toppin/Siakam at center for the Pacers. It went well at first, but the Pacers got a little motion-y with it. The Bucks did raise their low man up a little higher, so it was harder for the Pacers to play out of the middle through their big, Thomas Bryant, Myles Turner, whoever it was. But they got a lot of good mid-range shots out of it, the Pacers did. They can't rely on mid-range shots this whole series, but McConnell made them, Nembhard made them, Haliburton made them, not all of them against zone, but some certainly were very effective in those moments. I thought a big adjustment in this game that Carlisle went to was switching who's guarding Kevin Porter. TJ McConnell was doing it early. That was the wrong choice. He cannot handle that matchup from a physicality and speed perspective. They switch it up second quarter. Ben Mathurin instantly takes the Kevin Porter assignment. TJ McConnell goes to AJ Green, who was quiet for the next 2 quarters. Obviously, he was exceptional in the fourth, but that was against Pacer starters mostly, not against McConnell, since that was later in the game. It was against both types of groups. That was a good in-game adjustment. I don't think you'll see TJ McConnell at the point of attack much against Kevin Porter Jr. much. I actually liked at first Thomas Bryant's minutes more than I expected. They certainly tapered off throughout the game. His defense on Giannis wasn't quite what the Pacers need from him. Myles Turner had some nice moments in those. Their centers are switching. They're doing a lot of 5-4 switching on Giannis and then sending the second or third or whatever, however many guys. And so Thomas Bryant's offense was actually fine, right? He generated, I think he took the Pacers' first free throws of the game. He made a 3. Obviously the results were good when you have 6 points on 2 shots. I didn't think he was a problem on offense with the Pacers in ways he was at times late in the regular season, but his defense certainly made me go, So if it's no Giannis minutes, that's when they mostly played him. That's fine, I suppose, especially if Sims is out there, but I wouldn't be surprised if he played less than 12 minutes in the next game if he plays at all. And him and McConnell together were maybe not a duo the Pacers will be turning back to. A big stretch for Haliburton getting going in the third quarter was when AJ Green was on him. I thought the Pacers did a little too much mismatch hunting at times in this game, but if they switch AJ Green back to the starting 5, because I thought he was their best punch player, maybe they'll go Gary Trent because he's a better defender, but keep an eye on that being a good thing. Ben Mathurin's first playoff game, that guy was cutting, right? I will give him so much credit. Look, his jumper was not falling. 1 for 6 from deep in this game. But he still, I thought, was very good. His defense was fine. He was locked in on that end of the floor. 5 rebounds in this game, only 1 turnover. And all of his baskets came from just perfect cuts from the top of the key or the weak side. Drew fouls in the paint. And his made 3 was caught on a Haliburton pass, right in rhythm, get it up. when the game slows down for Ben Mathurin, it's because he speeds up. It's because he himself is actually playing faster in a way that makes it so those reads that he is getting better at are easier, right? And I know he knows these things. He talks about it. They all talk about it. But when it happens, it looks so good. That was like, I never would have guessed I'd be sitting here after Ben Mathurin's first playoff game. He goes 2 for 7, and I'm like, he was awesome. But he played very well in this game. I did not expect him to have that kind of impact as a cutter, but that was extremely important. And Jarris Walker, first meaningful playoff minutes as well, unless I might be forgetting something last year. His handle was a little, at times in this one, but made his first shot. That was big. 5 boards. They need him and the size against Giannis. I got to give Caitlin Cooper credit. She was all over that. Something the Pacers were going to need in this game in series. I was not. I did not project him to play, if at all, and he was quite good, right? We'll see how reliable that remains throughout the series for both of those guys, right? It was their first playoff game ever, but playing well in the game that you'd expect him to be the most anxious or jittery or whatever in was important. Siakam and the Pacers had great rim pressure in that second half when their shots weren't falling still. I thought that was important. And Andrew Nembhard, what a game from him, man. I can't read this because there's a cuss word in it, but my note about him in the first half was, holy cow, man. I mean, finishing with 17, the way he just raises his level in the postseason. At the rim, he was finishing through contact or being creative with slowing down and all sorts of impressive maneuvers. He hit jumpers, granted twice, toes on the line. That's got to be infuriating for him. He hit a very deep 3 from the Andrew Nembhard spot, the left slot deep one that he loves so much. I mean, maybe it's yips, maybe it's something. His first 3 was a complete air ball, but he did very well on basically everything except for like very, very minor detailed 3-point shooting things. And his defense was good in this game. Plus 23 was Nembhard. A lot of starters with good plus minuses because they all played well together, and that was because they all played well. You're right. They're going to play well together if they're all having nice games. He was sensational in the first half of this game. His defense will be one of the most important things to keep an eye on when Dame returns. Bucks went zone to start the second half against Pacers starter, so keep an eye on that. But Myles Turner busted him up. Oh my gosh, was Myles Turner third quarter good in this game? I don't remember his exact point, rebound totals, whatever. He finishes 7 for 12, 4 for 6 from deep. I wrote about him being the X factor for a lot of the reasons we saw today. I'm not going to pat myself on the back. It's only been one game, but making threes is obviously good, right? Making 4 out of 6 threes. I don't have to explain to you why that's good, but the way it just helps everyone else operate in space. And then to have some nice inside the arc moments. He made 3 twos in this game. That was huge. And 4 blocks, including 2 great defensive plays against Giannis, barreling at him. I mean, they're switching that 5-4 screen every time because the hope for the Bucks was like, okay, Lopez screens for Giannis. All of a sudden, there's some space for him. They don't want to get, Turner away from the rim. The Pacers did a great job strategically against that alignment. I thought they were just so disciplined there, and Turner was the best, probably like in one-on-one situations. Nobody's stopping Giannis. I'm not going to say anyone's going to do good or deserves credit or anything like that, but I thought Turner had the most moments of like, wow, that worked very well for the Pacers of one-on-one defense against the 2-time MVP in this game. A lot of stuff talking in this game. Bobby Portis with Pascal, some physicality early. Bobby Portis with Obi Toppin. And then Tyrese Haliburton hits a shot late in the third quarter, just before the buzzer, looks over his shoulder. He gets words for Bobby Portis. Damian Lillard's up off the bench, getting a tech yapping with Siakam and Haliburton. It's Pacers Bucks, man. That's what it is. That's just how it goes. It's a frustrating series for everybody. Had the Pacers lost, they would have bowed out quick, left the floor early. That's what the Bucks did. I'm not faulting them for that at all. It was a very tough and emotional game. That's what these rivalry games have become, right? And it was very chippy at times in this game. And it's all the usual cast of characters. I love games like that. I love that Portis does that for the Bucks. I love the guys that they had who got more involved in it last year. It just adds to these games and adds another layer that sometimes teams respond to and sometimes they don't. The Pacers did today by continuing to play their way. We'll see how it goes for the rest of the series, and Dame getting involved in it too, right? That's going to be something certainly to keep an eye on going forward. Pacers played not to lose late. I thought that was a big reason that the Bucks were able to get into it. They slowed it down too much. They weren't getting into the paint. Not enough ball movement. Siakam comes back in, and that was the last punch that the Pacers needed. But that is the end of my notes. A couple things to keep an eye on adjustment-wise for the Pacers were, again, that specific thing about their bench rotation. Obi Toppin, the fewest minutes of any Pacers rotation guy in this game, right? Some of that's because he specifically is tough to play when Giannis is on the floor. His offensive impact was fine. He made a 3, but you didn't feel it as much as you have with Toppin. At times, he came in very early in these games. He was coming in about 3 or 4 minutes into the first and third quarters for Siakam. I think that allows the Pacers to get to Siakam, Toppin as their backup fives or whatever earlier before Thomas Bryant comes in. And guys are going to be working hard to defend Giannis or foul or whatever. But if they're going to play 10 guys, if they're going to play Jarris and Thomas Bryant off the bench, I think they could go a little longer before putting Toppin in and then try to run him through his usual regular season minutes. But if his defense can't hold in these front court alignments, I get why they did what they did. It clearly worked. Like maybe changing the rotation is not something to be terrified of. The Pacers themselves, when they talked about stuff they wanted to do better, they wanted to defend Giannis better, right? They thought they did fine at times, but 14 for 23, he took 15 free throws. Him missing 7 of those was a big part of this. I mean, that's about what I think he's going to do every game, right? He had 36 and 12, and that's what he does. The thing the Pacers did the best with him is only 1 assist for Giannis, and some of that is his teammates missing 3. Some of that was the Pacers and their good rotations and closeouts in this game, but they want to be better in that matchup in the next game, and they don't want to get out of their style in the second half, right? They put that on themselves more than anything. Rick Carlisle credited some Bucks adjustments for that kind of stuff as well post-game, but there's not, again, this is why game 1 can be so important, and the Pacers are smarter than me, obviously. But being proactive with adjustments, you still have to adjust even when you win. But when you lose, it feels so much easier to say, these are the things that went wrong. Do them. The stuff that went wrong for the Pacers was playing not their style, right? Playing to not lose in the second half. Just don't do that, right? They did a great job, again, of getting the shots they wanted all night. It'd be so easy for them to say, great, play the same way. And they should try to play their game. But they got to be ready for a changed Bucks starting 5 to me. And they've got to keep attacking the paint all night. I thought they took a little long to get into their zone attacks in the second half, but they did get to it eventually. So maybe slight tweaks to the bench rotation, not getting complacent would be huge. I don't think there's anything grand that I'm thinking the Pacers have to either start doing or stop doing after this game, but they did play quite well. Game 2 Tuesday, so 2 podcasts between this one and those. Tomorrow should be just me. I'm not going to make anybody waste their Easter talking to me, but I will talk more about some game 1 stuff that I thought was important or not important or overstated. And then Derek Kramer is going to join us Monday going into game 2, or that will be posted Tuesday, going into game 2 about adjustments, what to watch for. Can the Pacers defend their home floor and be up 2-0 heading to Milwaukee, having a 2-game lead in a series? The last time they did that was when they won 4-2 against this Bucks team last year. So we'll see where this goes. I'll have a story in Forbes about this game and what went well for the Pacers. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Tony R. East. This podcast has a Twitter account. It's at Locked On Pacers, and it's on Instagram under the same handle. Thank you all so much for listening and watching. We'll catch you on Monday.